Action.
Thank you both for joining me today. My name is Emily, as you both know, and I spent many years working in a district office for a California state senator. And I experienced a lot of frustration working in the office that I also would speak with a number of colleagues who also worked in district offices. And we would get together and we would talk a lot about the fact that our district office often did not have good communication with the staff in the Capitol office. And that led to a lot of frustration and a lot of conflict, frankly, between the district office staff and the Capitol office staff, who really sometimes were at odds between what the different responsibilities were. So what I have done is I have developed a workshop where we cover a number of issues that were conflicts that would come up and think about how we can resolve those issues before they become conflicts. So I've asked both of you to join me today. I have a representative from the district office manager, and I have the chief of staff from Sacramento here today, and we're going to talk about one of these such conflicts as an example and how we can proceed to avoid the conflict that I experienced as a staff person in the district office. So perhaps we can start with you, Simone, from the district office, and you can let me know if that resonates with you, a particular conflict that we could perhaps talk about today as well.
Okay, thank you. As there are many different bills that the senator speaks about and is putting before the legislature, and the constituents hear information from the news, from their colleagues at work, from the newspapers, and they want to know more information. So they call our district office, and we see our job as giving information to constituents or referrals, sometimes a combination of both. When we don't have information about the legislation, we tell the constituent to call the Capitol office. We say, we really don't know as much about legislation yet, about a certain bill, so please call the Capitol office. Sometimes the constituents would then call us back in a day or two or three and say, I tried and I never got a call back. And so we're not able to provide the service that we would like to be providing, and making these referrals isn't really helping us.
So what I remember from my experience with that is that would then turn into conflict with the Capitol office staff, because as a district office staff, I then would try and reach the staff person from Sacramento and ask if they could please contact the constituent, and sometimes even we wouldn't get a phone call, and tension would develop between the two offices as a result. So I remember that issue and having a lot of frustration about that, and that's a good thing that I wanted to discuss today. And I am aware, Stacy here from the Capitol office and the chief of staff responsible for really overseeing all the operations, that there's just so much work that each staff person is responsible for in Sacramento, and they have a full plate, a number of legislative bills that they're working on and moving through the legislative process, that there really just is not enough hours in the day to call individual constituents back to answer really very minutia details of the bill, and it's really not part of the big picture goal for the staff member, because the individuals who vote on the bill are the colleagues of the member, not the constituents. So there is definitely a conflict. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that from your perspective.
No, that was most of it. I mean, we would love to call everybody back, but it's very much not enough hours in the day. and it ends up not being the priority. The priority is getting the bills through and getting the bills written and getting all the details sorted out, which is a very, very tedious, lengthy process.
And I wonder if you can imagine how it feels from the district office, that it's very frustrating to have constituents referred and unfortunately to be ignored, and even the district office staff gets ignored a lot. And so
In turn, we get frustrated with the number of phone calls we receive because we're just trying to get our work done.
you're probably very inundated with other phone calls throughout the day.
Sure, we're dealing with other offices and the other Senate members and
Right.
trying to get things done, and it unfortunately is on the very bottom of the pile, calling constituents back to clarify something they heard at a PTA meeting.
Right, and really that is the job of the district office staff, to be responsive to the constituents. So there is a conflict there, and what I was hoping is that we could talk about maybe some options for resolving that conflict. And I've come up with a couple of suggestions, and I thought I would see from your perspective what you thought about a couple of ideas.
Okay.
So
Great.
one in particular is that I remember from my work in the district office that both offices did have access to a particular shared drive on the computer. And that was a place where the district office could look at documents on the computer that were worked on by the Sacramento office. So one of the things that was frustrating as a district office staff person is that it was very inconsistent. Some staff people would post fact sheets, question and answer sheets that were helpful for the district office staff to learn, in fact, about the bill. Or we would receive a document that would have a summary of the bills and some commonly asked questions and some responses. What was frustrating was that it was inconsistent. Some staff people did this, others did not. So what I thought as a suggestion is that this really could be a priority of the chief of staff, to make sure that each staff person in Sacramento completed this task, and that it was important recognizing and respecting the work of the district office to make sure that the necessary documents were in that shared drive on a regular basis. And I thought that would be something that would be very helpful to resolve that particular conflict. And the second item, and we can go back to that one, is simply just having regular staff meetings between the district office and the capital office, and recognizing that time is very valuable. However, it makes a big difference for a district office staff person to hear what is going on and an update about the legislative process for each bill, to be informed of that process. So those were a couple of solutions that I have taken away from my experience as a district office staff person, and wondering if those are things that could be implemented at the district office and the capital office.
When you
level.
say regular meetings, are you referring to a weekly meeting or every 2 weeks?
Well,
Or-
and I think that could be worked out
Okay.
between each of the offices,
Okay.
and figure out a schedule that would work.
Sure, we'd have to
For
find some time that everyone
staff.
was available and in the office and could sit
Right.
around a conference call,
And,
for-
yeah,
however long, to do that.
Right, and even if not every staff person was available for each call, but it would be the kind of thing that every office could work towards. So I'm noticing that we're running short on time. I'd like to thank both of you for participating in this workshop, and
Thank you,
there
those are
will
great
be
ideas.
more information to come.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.